Bum, 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 Hello, and welcome to the Creative Minds podcast. I'm Michael Beck, the Creative Minds, which is a group that I created in Williamsburg, Virginia. I had gone to George Mason University, was in an art school, and was just surrounded by artistic and creative people. And then I graduated and moved back home. I just wasn't finding a place for me to get connected with other creative folks, and so I had decided to create this group. It's beyond art school and that sort of community. If you look at history, there was instances where a famous artist, either intentional or unintentional, they would have like spaces, pubs, bars, wherever, where they would meet and they would have discussions about art and creativity and share their work. And so just in the spirit of the past, and even just present, just communities that are doing uh, creative community, I just wanted to create this group, to have a place for me and others in the community to get together and talk about creative things, because at least for me, yeah, I just wasn't finding that just in this area there was just a whole lot of people that I was finding in my daily life who were just having creative discussions. So yeah, I created the group, and it happened a little bit before the coronavirus. So we only had one meeting in person, and the rest has been online. So it's been interesting trying to figure things out and getting the dynamics of having an online meeting and having discussion. But it's really cool. It's been awesome meeting with you, and I've been so appreciative of those who have joined the discussions. And yeah, even just due to coronavirus, it's opened up some new opportunities, which I might talk about more. But it's just I'll probably do that in another podcast. But it's just opened up our opportunities for me to connect with more people. And so yeah, it's been obviously a challenging time and lots of transitions, but it's been pretty exciting, and there's been some cool stuff going on as well. Um, so I've been encouraged, and I just wanted to share just a little bits about the group, and then just talk about my philosophy of art, as well, just as I'm going on to this should be one of many other uh, videos that I create for this podcast. And so before I go into any other topics, I thought it'd be helpful for me to share for those who are going to be watching, and just those who are part of the group to know kind of what I think about art, and yeah, just what my thoughts are, how I try to think about the work that I look at and encounter. Yeah, so here it is. My philosophy of art, subject to change. I had to put that in there because this is what I'm thinking now, but I could, within a week it could be totally different. And I think that's pretty cool. Even from before art school until after, I counter lots of pieces of art that maybe think about things differently, and really change my perspective. So yeah, here we go. Anything can be art, but not everything is art. Art to me is like a class or a field, like math or science. It's not greater than any other, as some may imply, but is unique, possessing its own value and merit. And so why I say that is because I just hear the word art tossed around all the time, and it's fine. No, it's like I don't make a big deal about it, but since I'm talking about it, I just think that the more that you use something, then it can kind of like lose some of its meaning. And so like when everything is like, the art of this, the art of that, it's like, really, is it actually art? I think that there's, as much as art doesn't seem to find much value in like the school system as opposed to other subjects, it seems like art gets like labeled on things to make it seem more valuable or important. But it's like, can it just be valuable for like what it is? If it's science, like it's amazing. It's science. If it's math, like obviously those things are highly valuable. So you don't need to throw the word art on top of that. So that's kind of how what I'm coming from there. And then yeah, I think of art as a sort of knowledge or intelligence. And then I wouldn't, kind of continuing on that, I wouldn't get an artist to help me with my taxes, nor to help me repair my car or build a house or perform any kind of surgery on my body. Those are things that I want people who are doctors and scientists who have, those are separate skills, and I really need those are valuable, those are important. And so I don't want or need an artist to do those things for me. um so that I see this separation distinction, and it's not that one's better or one's less, it's just that they're all valuable. And I think one is different. And so let's see here. So I don't see those fields as interchangeable. um I don't see, I do see a difference between craft and art. I think that often becomes a point of discussion, or something that maybe kind of comes up, is there does seem to be sort of a close link between craft and art, but I do think they're different. I think that craft has a very instinctual and tangible value. It's very practical and useful. And again, I want a good craftsman to build my house. I don't care what any part of the structure, or the roof says about the earth and my place in it, or elicits some thought or emotion. If it's not structurally sound, that's really important. I don't want, when the storm comes, I don't want the house blowing over or collapsing on me. That's not okay. Um, but like the architect who builds the house, he might wear several hats. He might wear a math hat or an art hat, or yes, an art hat. Did I say it twice? He can wear multiple hats, and one of them might be an art hat, and that's great if he does, because then he can create something that's not just practical, but something that's beautiful as well. So it's not just going to conform to the law and the codes and going to be safe. It's going to be aesthetically pleasing as well, and that's great. But I don't think that someone just building the house, conforming to the codes and the structures, it's amazing thing, and it's incredible that they can do that. But I don't see someone just build a house and go, oh, that's a work of art. That's kind of what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get at. I hear that kind of thing said. Something does something that's beautiful and amazing, and requires skill, and they say it's a work of art. And is it really? I don't, I question it. Um, so to me, art is really all about intent. That's where art gets very subjective. Because there's so much overlap, it seems, between the fields. People can wear multiple different hats. It can, the architect can be very artistic, and be a great craftsman. um I don't really see something necessarily, or I try not to see something as being art or not art. I try to see it as being more of a measure of a scale of how artistic something is. Um, so I think what I then think the intent of art, what makes something a good work of art, is it should challenge us and make us ask questions. Not to give glib answers, but to initiate conversation. To me, that's really important about art. I see so many works that are elevated and raised is great works of art that just put it all out in front of you, just make a statement. Maybe there's a place for that, but to me, a lot of the work that I discovered when I was away at school and that challenged my views and my thoughts were the ones that made me ask questions, the ones that I felt really caused me to want to talk about them. It wasn't something that was just, I took a few seconds and it was like, oh, I understand completely what it means. No, it's something that I had to, had to really think about, had to observe and to chew on. And really it even, the art gave me an opportunity to, to put myself in it, as the observer, as the participant. And so I think that's really a great opportunity that art has, and I thought that, I had just um, I think a cool, definition for art could be art is a science which needs no conclusion. I think science and art have some great similarities. They do, have asked questions. They both have a sort of, hypothesis way about them. But in the end, like science is ultimately wants to get to that conclusion, and that's why science is so good and helpful and valued, because you have your hypothesis, but then eventually you want to say, did it prove or disprove? But art, like, I think the great thing about it is that it can just be a form of a field that just allows us to ask all kinds of questions, and we don't need to have any answers to them. And hopefully by observing and looking through art, we'll find some answers. But the art itself, I just don't think needs to be the the device or the mode in which we give answers, where we tell this is um yeah, I just I could go on and on, but yeah, I just think that's really the awesome thing about art, is, and that's what makes it so different than the other things like math and science that are so practical and just so um even structured. Art can be so liberating and freeing, because I feel like it just doesn't have to conform to all those things. And I think it gets challenging when we try to make art like something else, make it look like something that it doesn't have to be. um, so those are my thoughts. And so, and hopefully, if you've listened to this, this wasn't me telling you this is again, or not again, but in case I haven't said, this is just my thoughts, my feelings on art. And it might be very different from yours, but hopefully you've heard my thoughts, and you'll now think about more about what your thoughts are, what your beliefs are about art. Hopefully, if you're an artist or doing creative things, have some sort of opinion of what art is, so that what you're trying to create, why you're trying to create it. And that's the case for me. I don't always find that I'm necessarily, when I'm doing art, that I'm paying a super close attention to these things, or that I'm always reaching it. And I think that's kind of the reason why I continue to do art, because I'm never getting to that point. There's always something more to be added, something more to add to the discussion. So yeah, I hope that this is a good introduction to kind of introduce the podcast, and just get us all thinking. And that's really what I hope that this podcast will do. That'll get us thinking, and will even encourage us, as we're trying to create. Um, that we're kind of going to get outside of the box that we think that art and creativity has to be, and we can open our minds and see that there are some really cool and new opportunities. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching this, and want to give a quick thank you and shout out to Michael Ripani, who created the awesome theme song for this podcast. He is a great musician. He does beatboxing, and he does other like a lot of electronic music as well. He has done some remixes for Zelda and for Animal Crossing, and he also does some great originals as well. So I'm going to leave some links to his work in the description below, and you should definitely check it out. I'm sure he'd love to connect with you. If you have any projects that you'd like to work with on him, so be sure to give him a listen and reach out to him if you also enjoy the work that he's making. So thanks again, Michael. And yeah, thanks again. Hope you are staying well, and yeah, God bless.